And they don't really hold back at all.
No, they don't.
I mean, they come out, swinging with this statement.
Yeah.
If there's one type of person that a liberal hates more than Donald Trump, it is a happy, content, healthy mentally as well as physically individual. So right there, they're sort of suggesting that like happiness, particularly happiness that's maybe rooted in more traditional values, is somehow offensive or threatening to those on the so-called woke left.
Yeah. That's a pretty bold claim,
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you wonder, like, what's the logic there, right?
No,
like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so the creator seems to believe it boils down to, like, envy. Like, deep down, progressives secretly yearn for the very things they, outwardly reject,
Okay.
like a stable family or a fulfilling career or...
Yeah, or like that white picket fence even.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
to illustrate that, they point to this example about this woman who was featured in a magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And she was expressing, happiness in her role as a wife and mother on a farm.
Okay.
And they actually call it the ballerina farm, which I have to say, I mean, it's kind of a catchy...
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Catchy name?
Yeah.
But have you seen this magazine piece?
I have, yeah.
Like, what was the reaction to that?
Oh, comment section was insane. I mean, people were just, I don't know. It was like a war zone, honestly.
Really?
But I think if we kind of step back for a second, though, it does make you think, right?
Yeah.
Like, why such a strong reaction to somebody just expressing contentment with their own life choices,
Yeah.
Could it be that her like happiness somehow like challenged a certain narrative about what a modern liberated woman should be?
That's what it seems like they're getting at.
Yeah.
And they take that idea
Yeah.
a step further, connecting it to a victimhood mentality. They're arguing that like a lot of woke ideology is fueled by this negativity, this focus on perceived injustices and creating these echo chambers where resentment kind of festers.
I know. And I'm sure some of our listeners right now are
nodding their heads. And some are ready to like argue with their, whatever they're listening on.
Yeah.
But let's hear them out.
Yeah, let's hear them out.
To be fair, they do acknowledge that echo chambers, can exist on both sides of the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like they're just, picking on one side, but they just seem to be saying that constantly dwelling on negativity can be disempowering,
Yeah.
And instead, they kind of advocate for like a more positive approach.
Okay.
One that's focused on personal growth and self-reliance and building a better future.
Yeah. And I think that's where their critique of traditional values comes in.
Right.
They're arguing that woke ideology is actively trying to dismantle things like family, fitness, and patriotism, which they believe are like these cornerstones of a strong and thriving society.
And they use some pretty, provocative examples to make their point.
Yeah, like what?
Well, one that comes to mind is the whole body positivity movement,
Okay.
They acknowledge the importance of self-acceptance, of course.
Right.
But they're kind of critical of what they see as normalizing unhealthy lifestyles. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And actually, they even reference a book that argues that the whole stigma around obesity is rooted in racism.
Oh, wow.
Particularly a fear of black body.
That's a pretty sensitive topic to be wading into, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And they just, go right for it.
Right.
But I mean, they are kind of pushing back against the idea that any critique of unhealthy habits is somehow like inherently discriminatory.
Yeah, it's like they're walking a tightrope a little bit.
It is, yeah.
And they don't stop there. They also go after modern feminism, arguing that it discourages women from pursuing traditional roles like marriage and motherhood.
Right.
And they seem to be suggesting that woke ideology kind of elevates certain choices while devaluing others. And it almost creates this sense of like internal conflict.
Right.
For individuals who might be drawn to, those more traditional paths.
That's a good point. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's definitely some food for thought, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, there's the whole issue of free speech. The creator is claiming that any opposition to woke ideology is immediately shut down with labels like white supremacy or the patriarchy.
I've seen that.
And it's, stifling open dialogue and critical thinking.
Right. They kind of use it to shut down the conversation rather than engage in, meaningful debate.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So it seems like their point is about like how certain terms are being used, almost weaponized, to just kind of silence dissent rather than actually having a...
Yeah, that's an interesting observation.
Yeah.
They're implying that these labels are being used to shut down any conversations about, legitimate concerns.
Yeah, right.
But they don't stop there. They go even further.
What do they say?
They start asking some pointed questions like, what will they replace these traditional values with?
Okay.
Can they actually build and sustain a functioning society without them?
Right.
Like they're really challenging.
Yeah, it's almost like they're saying, you're great at tearing things down, but what's your plan for building something better?
Exactly. Exactly. And that leads them to accuse the woke left of hypocrisy.
Okay.
Benefiting from the very systems that they're,
Right. They're not afraid to call it out.
They are not, no.
I mean, they make this pretty pointed statement about how you can't tear down the house while you're still living in it.
Classic, right.
Yeah.
It's like a classic critique of these movements that advocate for radical change. Like, are you actually willing to live by your own rules?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Right. But here's where it gets interesting.
Right.
They shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And start talking about what they consider radical values.
Okay.
But the thing is, they're arguing that these radical values are actually just common sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like this.
Clever tactic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're kind of flipping the script.
Yeah.
Taking concepts that are often presented as like extreme or fringe and positioning them as like inherently rational and grounded,
Yeah, and I could see how that would be effective.
It might just work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they cite things like opposition to gender transition, procedures for children, protecting children from sexually explicit content, and prioritizing family, community, national well-being as examples of these.
Yeah, they're kind of like appealing to this sense of shared values, right? Like these aren't radical concepts. These are foundational principles that most people would agree on.
Right.
And, it's particularly effective when they say things like, if that's radical, I am an extremist.
Right.
They're using that strong language to really highlight what they see as a disconnect, between what's considered acceptable within woke ideology and what they believe aligns with common sense and the best interests of society.
And right when you think they're done,
Yeah.
they circle back to that ballerina farm woman.
Okay.
They're praising her for embracing traditional values and just enjoying this simple life.
That's interesting how they kind of bring that back around.
Yeah, it's like she's the symbol of everything they admire and everything they believe woke ideology is trying to.
Yeah, talk about coming full circle, right?
Yeah.
That's a powerful way to end the video. Yeah. They're bringing it back to that central conflict. Individual happiness, societal values, and the perceived threat of woke ideology.
Yeah.
They've laid out their argument. They used, vivid examples and left us with a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Which I suspect was the goal all along.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
So let's take a break and come back and kind of dissect this a little bit more.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's interesting how they keep coming back to that ballerina farm woman
Yeah.
throughout the video. It's like she's this
Yeah, it's very effective storytelling technique, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
They're tapping into our emotions, using imagery and these anecdotes to make their argument, more relatable.
Right.
And you know what? That ending where they talk about raiding their fridge,
Oh, yeah.
like a ballet farmer.
Funny. But it also kind of subtly reinforces this idea of embracing, a simpler, more grounded way of life.
So having gone through all these arguments,
Yeah.
what do you think is like the most crucial takeaway from all this?
Well, for me, it's that challenge to, critically examine our own echo chamber. Think about the information you consume daily.
Yeah.
The news you read, the podcasts you listen to,
Yeah.
even the social media posts you engage with.
Yeah.
Are they uplifting and empowering you, or are they feeding a cycle of negativity and resentment?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a relevant point, especially now when we're just bombarded
I know, right?
with information from all sides.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in a particular narrative.
Especially when it's constantly being reinforced
Yeah.
by the people and the sources we trust,
Yeah, absolutely.
So this video is kind of a reminder
that it's crucial to step back and really evaluate those sources.
Yeah.
Be mindful of the perspectives that are shaping, our worldview.
Right.
And it's also a reminder that there's value in engaging with viewpoints that challenge our own beliefs.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We may not agree with everything this creator is saying.
Right.
But I do think their perspective forces us to kind of confront some potentially uncomfortable questions about where we're headed as a society.
And I think that's where the real value of this deep dive is. You know, it's not about telling you what to think, but it's about encouraging you to think critically and for yourself.
For yourself, yeah.
So let's take this a step further.
Okay.
What does this all mean for us as individuals?
Yeah.
You know, trying to navigate this increasingly polarized, ideologically driven world?
I mean, that's a question so many people are struggling with.
Yeah.
I feel like everywhere you turn, someone's telling you what to believe, how to think.
It could be pretty overwhelming.
It is, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think this video does offer like some valuable guidance.
Yes.
You know, it highlights the importance of being mindful of the information we consume, being open to engaging with diverse viewpoints, and most importantly, I think being honest with ourselves about our own values and priorities.
And maybe taking a cue from that ballerina farmer.
Right.
And finding, a bit more joy in just the simple things.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to all go out and buy a farm.
Right.
But maybe there's something to be said for, finding contentment in the everyday.
Yeah, instead of constantly chasing something bigger and better.
Ultimately, the question this deep dive leaves us with is, how do we balance the pursuit of individual happiness with the responsibility of building, a just and equitable society?
Right. It's a question with no easy answers.
No.
But it's definitely one.
But it's one worth pondering, for sure.
That is the essence of a true deep dive.
There you go.
We've explored, some challenging ideas, unpacked complex arguments, and hopefully sparked some
insightful reflection.
Insightful reflections. Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So it's like we've been given this this really complicated puzzle with all these pieces, right? Individual happiness, societal values, these ideological clashes.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And now we're supposed to figure out how they all fit together.
Exactly.
Do you think there is a way to reconcile all of that?
I mean, it's definitely a challenge, and I don't think there's like a single right answer,
Okay.
We all bring our own, experiences and perspectives to the table, and that shapes how we see the world, right?
Of course.
So what might feel like a perfect fit for one person could be like totally wrong for someone else.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes these deep dives so interesting. We're not just like passively listening. We're really like thinking about these ideas.
Exactly. You're actively grappling with them.
Yeah.
You're challenging your own assumptions.
Right.
And hopefully expanding your understanding along the way.
And maybe even having those like aha moments.
Exactly.
That help make sense of everything.
Those are the best.
So to wrap things up, let's leave our listeners with something to think about.
All right.
If, like the creator suggests, what they call radical is really just common sense, then where does that leave us in terms of bridging the divide?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the rhetoric and the extremes.
Yeah.
Especially when those are the loudest voices,
Right.
But the real work, the truly meaningful work, I think,
lie in finding ways to actually communicate across those different, to really try to understand where other people are coming from and to seek that common ground.
Yeah, even when it feels like it's not there.
Exactly. It's tough, but it's worth it.
It is tough.
Yeah.
So as always, we encourage you, our listeners,
yes,
to, keep thinking about these ideas.
Keep the conversation going, explore different perspectives.
Exactly.
And stay curious.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Keep those minds engaged. And until next time.
Until next time.
Happy diving.
We're going to be looking at a pretty controversial topic.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of woke indoctrination in the U.S. education system.
Okay.
Our source material is this YouTube video by this guy, Aquarius Wave.
Okay.
It's called, The Modern Education System is Woke Indoctrination.
Oh, wow.
And he makes some pretty bold claims in this video, saying things like schools being indoctrination centers.
Really?
Yeah, and comparing indoctrinated voters to uneducated ones. And he even kind of questions the whole point of the Department of Education.
Interesting.
So to help us break this all down, we've got our expert here.
Yeah, it's definitely a topic that's getting people talking right now, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So Aquarius Wave, right off the bat, he argues that schools from, K-12 to universities, they're pushing this woke agenda that's aimed at creating what he calls liberal-minded, far-left extremists. And he points to some specific things as evidence.
Like what?
Like the focus on LGBTQ plus issues, critical race theory, and gender studies.